Africa is a continent rich with opportunity. And when business and communities come together, its astonishing potential begins to be felt. With the Millennium Development Goals steering these partnerships, Africa's future is being rewritten with innovation, foresight, and inclusivity. Crossing the length and breadth of the continent, our journalists uncover these stories and share them with the world. Join us now for remarkable stories of partnerships across Africa, building the future and changing lives. It's Africa's time.
This is the uniform I was talking about. It's only worn during the occasions. That's the rank.
Yeah. Is that the major one?
It's the one.
See, man knows. The award was for?
It's given by head of state. Our Air Force went into strike. We wanted to overturn the government, so we saved the country.
Apparently on a clear day, it's possible to see Mount Kenya and Kilimanjaro from up here. We'll be traveling to the foothills of majestic Mount Kenya to find out what lies behind the huge success of a rose farm nestled on its slopes. Awaiting us is the story of a man who moved from an uncertain future into a bright tomorrow for his family and future generations. I'm standing at the equator. This has been quite a journey. We started in Nairobi and made our way all the way up north to Nanyuki on the equator. Nanyuki is on the foothills of Mount Kenya. It is over there, behind the clouds. I promise you it is. What a wonderful place to grow roses.
Welcome, this is our first greenhouse, and we have named it G1, Greenhouse 1.
This is where it all began.
Yeah, I don't know whether you knew that Sunderland has got the best flowers in Kenya. We are in a very high altitude, and that's why you can see flowers as tall as me or you. After retiring from the military, I met with a gentleman called Vijon. We decided to go into vegetable. We did that for about 5 years. Then we said, why can't we try something else? Then we ventured into flower farming. That's how it started. Every block has got somebody who takes care on that block. This base are taken care by this lady called Florence Karamta.
She picks, she suckers, she balances.
Everybody will know where he starts and where he ends every day. Habari yako? Kwa nini unaogopa wageni? Yeah.
You take care of them like you're taking care of children, eh?
Yes, it's like that because I must level the heads,
right,
so that there is no damage or bruising.
So you have to take care of them gently, nicely. To reduce the use of pesticides, Sunland uses scouts to identify pests, then introduce natural predators to eradicate them so that spot spraying is the last resort.
I was telling you this is our best varieties when it comes to the Valentine time.
Right.
I don't know what is good for reds with the ladies.
Yes.
I'm told that if a lady doesn't be given this during the Valentine, it will be a war. That is our time of getting money. If you haven't made your money during that time, then you are not in business. Let's go up. I hope you are not tired.
No, not at all, not at all. Major, what do we have here?
We have got heartworms. It is a juice made from various leftovers.
Yes.
Then it comes to this tank. You can see even where they are living is very fertile.
Ooh,
Can you see something? And with a very nice smell.
it's very nice.
Since you are not a farmer, you won't have noticed.
Right.
The plants are very happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's because of the juice on it.
It's extraordinary what the Major and his partner have achieved with hard work and technical expertise. But the true impetus came via a partnership with Standard Chartered Bank. This took Sunland to the next level.
Sunland is one of the many stories that we're proud of. We've seen their hectares grow from 4 hectares to 20 hectares. We've seen the people that they employ raise from 100 to 250 employees. And we're actually proud to have partnered with them all along their success story so far. If you looked at Kenya probably about 15 years ago exporting flowers, it wasn't nowhere on the map. Today I believe it's the second largest exporter of cut flowers across the world.
It's always nice to see you when you're around. I noticed from the credits that are coming in, we are now doing almost double what we used to do about 2-3 months ago. The good thing with that is that it shows either your market now has gone up or you have a new market where your sales are quite good.
So I think it's personally gratifying to see a company grow quite healthily over the last 5 years and grow even stronger with our help. They have faced risks, but I'm quite proud that we actually stepped in and helped them manage the risk as well. In 2011, due to the exchange rates fluctuation in the world market and in Kenya in particular, we had a lot of customers like Sunland who had their receivables in foreign currency, but their costs and payments in local currency suffer quite a bit. Using forwards and FX hedging techniques, we help them manage their risks so that it's predictable in terms of what the local currency equivalent of their receivables would be, to help them manage their cash flow.
From the start, the Major and his partner were committed to the best techniques for their agribusiness. From simple beginnings, Sunland's annual turnover today is around $4 million, with exports to the Middle East, Europe, Australia, and Russia.
SMEs contribute 60% of the GDP of Kenya. As Kenya's economic growth rates accelerate even further, the growth of SMEs would be disproportionately higher than the rest of the economy. So from a business point of view, it's a great opportunity as well. But one of our taglines is here for good. We've been here in Kenya for over 100 years, and we will be here for a longer time as well.
The UNDP's 8th Millennium Development Goal promotes global partnerships. The inclusive relationship between Sunland Roses and Standard Chartered Bank is a great example of this.
This critical initiative will promote income and employment generation and lift the people condition and position medium and small enterprise to compete at the international level. This has an important role in promoting wealth creation in the country. When you see that the private sector has increased the financial cash flow for development, we realize that indeed the private sector has a critical role to play in the realization of the MDG 8. And what's important also is the way that this mechanism create a middle class entrepreneurs that will help the country in lifting the condition of the poor, particularly women and youth.
Recently, we commissioned an independent study across Africa to look at the impact that Standard Chartered has on the economy. We had 2 quite startling revelations for us. The first one was that through the economic activities that Standard Chartered undertakes and the clients that we support, we actually contribute to 5.5% of the GDP of the country. And the second one was the impact of our lending on jobs. For every $1 million that we lend out to SMEs, we actually create nearly 300 jobs, which helps us not only as a business, but helps the greater community as well.
Before we started the Sunland Roses, we were very poor. We didn't have anything, honestly. We could not even pay our workers at home. We could not even pay the bills for the electricity. We started with one greenhouse. Manager didn't know he could do that. You see, he was employed as a soldier. But that was God's plan.
There is something today in the house of the Lord. There is something today in the house of the Lord.
Every morning before we start off, we must have prayers. And on Saturdays, we have got another session of prayers. So I think it's very unique in this farm. These are the people who are assisting us to make money. So you have to look after them. If they are not there, we can't go farming. When it comes to social work, it's a duty to everybody. You are a Kenyan citizen, you have to assist your fellow Kenyans.
With prosperity comes the opportunity to live out your deepest values and give back. Mrs. Smriti started an orphanage, which Sunland as a company now supports, providing a loving home and care to local children.
The government knows we are here. And also the government gives us small allowances these days of money to buy food. The Sunland Roses, they help me in paying the salaries for the workers.
Sunland has been a great partner for us, and we've helped them grow quite a bit as well. We want to partner with them into the future as well, help them grow even further, help them diversify as they're looking to do right now as well. And as they grow bigger, giving them the advice on how to transition from a family-owned enterprise to a more corporate structure, how to manage risks better. Actually, we'd like to partner with them throughout the whole journey.
Would you then say, Major, that what you do on the foothills of Mount Kenya assists in people's relationships around the world?
Just to keep people together. I would like to see that this operation continues, not for the benefit of my family, but for the benefit of the society and Kenya as a whole.
On the east coast of Africa, we're encountering warm and welcoming people, areas of great natural beauty and healthy arable land. Farming's been at the backbone of livelihoods in rural Kenya for centuries, and we're here to look at the way that these traditions are being transformed by agribusiness, a model that's uplifting GDP, changing fortunes, and turning lives around.
As you go through the Rift Valley, you will come to an area called Kimilili and Nakuru, and that's where we have a lot of farmers. Now, traditionally, these are very backward areas for farming. There's a lot of land, there's a lot of people who are idle, and the poverty levels have been pretty high.
In my area, there's so many people poor. But it's not that they lack hands, it's not that they lack farm, they have it. But the strategies for them to come out, to improve the standard of life is the problem.
These are subsistence farmers. They wake up one day, they decide to plant maize that half of the time will not succeed. Or they'll plant, they'll produce, but they will not get a ready market.
Most peasant farmers are only worried about what they eat. And since in Kenya we depend on rain-fed agriculture, the global warming, sometimes too much rain like El Nino, now makes them lose their produce either by putting input, whatever money they had, everything, then when drought comes, it's all gone, they are zero. Now sometimes too much rain, then rot on how to keep the crop. So all the time there is a poverty cycle. By the time they expect good harvest, it is a bumper that they cannot store well. So they eat what they eat, then the rest may rot.
If they produce on their own and try to penetrate the market without the linkages, the business linkages that allow the produce to get to market at a volume that will make a difference to their lives, then they are trapped within the subsistence farming community where they sell only to survive for themselves.
Africa is really set as a frontier for agribusiness because we've got a lot of land mass. The whole of African continent, huge land mass. 60% of the arable land unused is still in Africa. We've got the land, we've got the sun, we've got the water. So when you look at all this, it's all about really bringing in more and more inclusive partnerships where the people who are there on those farms or the landowners come together. They offer their farms, they offer their business, their place for people to do agribusiness.
Vimal Shah is a co-founder of Bidco, which is where our story leads us. A powerhouse in the field of edible oils, soaps and detergents. With an annual turnover of $500 million, it produces many of the most recognizable consumer goods brands across East Africa. Bidco is at the forefront of a forward-thinking business philosophy of inclusion and shared growth with their farmers, their employees and their distributors. And it all starts with a transition from subsistence farming to agribusiness.
It's all about teamwork. It's all about teamwork. We'll not lower our goals. We'll not lower our goals. The level of our present abilities. The level of our present abilities. But raise our abilities. But raise our abilities. To the height of our goals. To the height of our goals.
When you see our people holding hands and saying the Kaizen pledge, this is where they all come together. There's no discrimination at all. And we say, alone we are weak, together we are strong. And this pledge is said to them, by them every single day. It's about continual improvement in everything you do.
Bravo, Bidco! Bravo, Kaizen! Bravo, Kaizen! Bravo, Kojen! Bravo, Kojen!
The ethos of our business is about inclusive growth. It's about partnerships. We make sure that we partner with our supply chain. So on the supply chain, we have all our suppliers, and on the other end, we have customers. My grandfather came over from India, so originally we're from India.
Soya gold, they come out brighter, repairing, because they're white, ne?
Dad was born in Mombasa, and he educated himself in Mombasa. Then he moved to Nyeri, near Mount Kenya. And we were born there, myself and my brother, and we were brought up there. He's done a lot of businesses, different ones. But it's only when we joined him, my dad, my brother, all three of us together started this Bidco in the consumer products industry. It started from an idea that my father had was, we want to be in agribusiness. And there was a whole feasibility study done, going out to farmers and talking to them and saying, what about farming and all that? And they actually said, bring us a seed, we'll start farming tomorrow.
This area is a highland. It lies on the slopes of Mount Elgon. Now, when the colonists came, they had settlers. The settlers were mainly farmers, and they knew what formal agriculture is. So they were only choosing the arable lands where climate is good, land is good, and it's vast. So after independence, very few people who first came here also adopted the same way of doing agriculture. That's why in Bidco, when we wanted sunflower production, we realized that we should start here with the farmers here. And that's why our main meetings started with people like Bernard.
We had somebody called Kevin. He's an field officer with the Bidco in Nakuru.
I think this is him.
Yeah, this is the guy. This is the guy.
Yeah.
And he asked me, Mister, I've heard you are a very good farmer in this area. I said, yeah. Who are you? He told me, I'm Kevin, I come from Bidco. Can you really supply us with this one you have on your farm? I told him, it's okay. Only that you offer the good price. He told me, yeah, we offer very... In fact, when we talked like that, he even offered me a better price than where I was supplying. I mobilized some farmers around. They also supplied me with their sunflower. I told him, we have got a good buyer.
And when I talked to him about farming sunflower, he was great because that was selling a new idea. And that's why every farmer here has adopted, and they are helping us have enough sunflower in Bidco.
They were interested. They came in. We supplied that year with 200 metric tons of sunflower. This time round, we supply them with over 500 metric tons of sunflower.
This is when you put sunflower. Yes. So it means you get enough. Yeah.
So what we did is we actually made sure that they've got a market, which we guarantee a market for their products. We've also given them the seeds in terms of where to buy the seeds from. We got those input suppliers brought in. The ripple effects of this are a lot of farmers want to get engaged, and we have now many more farmer groups, the self-help groups coming up together, and now there are cooperatives coming up.
A supplier will come in and provide a package of services, so seeds, technical advice, credit, insurance, and give it to the farmer. And then there is the same supplier who will pick it up at the appropriate time, enter it into the processing and on to the consumer and pay the farmer. Now that is a partnership that will make a difference, because then you are market driven.
We have a philosophy at Bitco of going from the soil to the frying pan, and we work on the full value chain.
It's this value chain approach that enables not only farmers but distributors as well. Supported by Bidco, they can now download an app and use cell phone technology to order their goods. An order that would have taken a week or more to deliver is now turned around in just 24 hours, allowing businesses like John's to grow.
We get our goods on time and we pay them on time. So that partnership has been working very well on us.
Our company is a part of the UN Global Compact, and this is a globally accepted policy initiative where companies voluntarily, subscribe to it and say, we will abide by certain standards. It's got a 10-point standards, which we talk about human rights, labor, environment, anti-corruption, and all that put together. So we subscribe to that, and we've actually made sure that a lot of our partners also come onto this.
This kind of transformation that you are seeing is driven basically by, first of all, inclusive partnership, where you have market-driven partnerships. So this kind of transformation will not happen when you are just giving, giving people fish. It comes when you are showing them how to fish, and you do it sustainably, and then it can be replicated and upscaled across the whole region.
Things have really changed. You can see I'm staying in a very beautiful house. My son, none of my son or daughter is here. All of them are in college. Agribusiness has really assisted me to see that these children are educated. They get good education.
The ultimate goal of our distribution system is to create many more entrepreneurs in Africa. And I think we're doing that in a massive scale. And we'd like to reach, right now we reach about 20,000. We'd like to take that to 70,000. If our people are not happy and healthy and living, and if our ecosystem in the supply chain is not happy and healthy and living, then really, what's our reason to exist?
After 2 years, this area, when you come, between September and December, you'll see wonders. There is sunflower all over.
Jumuiya. That means coming together for a common goal. Kujumuia is like kujumuika. That is, you have a drive which you want to achieve, regardless of the smallest or the greatest. And again, there are the meek, but when you come together, you will be stronger.